There is something deeply painful about realizing that someone you care about is unhappy with you, and they never actually tell you. She may still say, "I'm fine." She may still smile. She may still answer your messages. She may still sit beside you. But somewhere between the conversations that used to feel effortless and the silence that now feels heavy, something has changed. And the hardest part is that you may not notice it immediately. Because when a woman becomes unhappy in a relationship, she does not always announce it. Sometimes she slowly changes the way she communicates. She changes the way she responds to you. She changes how much effort she gives. And eventually, you begin to feel that something is wrong without being able to explain exactly what it is. That is why you have to learn to pay attention, not just to what she says, but to what her behavior is communicating. Because words can hide emotions. Behavior often reveals them. And if you are watching carefully, there are certain patterns that can tell you she may be emotionally unhappy, disconnected, or carrying feelings she has not been able to express. But understand this before we go any further. These signs do not automatically mean she wants to leave you. They do not prove that she has stopped loving you. And they certainly do not mean you should become suspicious of everything she does. People have bad days. People become stressed. People become emotionally exhausted. Life can change someone's behavior without the relationship being the problem. What matters is the pattern. When these changes continue for a long time, when they appear repeatedly, and when the emotional connection between you begins to feel different, that is when you should stop ignoring what you are seeing. The first sign is emotional distance. You may notice that she is physically present, but emotionally somewhere else. You talk to her, but her responses feel shorter. You tell her something that used to excite her, and she barely reacts. You try to start a conversation, and instead of opening up, she closes down. You ask, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Nothing." But you can feel that something is different. This is where many men make a mistake. They immediately start demanding answers. What happened? Why are you acting like this? Why are you so cold? Do you still love me? And the more pressure she feels, the more she may withdraw. Sometimes emotional distance is not about hatred. Sometimes it is exhaustion. Sometimes it is disappointment. Sometimes it is the result of repeatedly feeling unheard. Think about what happens when someone tries to explain their feelings again and again, but feels like nothing changes. Eventually, they stop explaining, not because they have nothing to say, but because they no longer believe saying it will make a difference. That is why emotional distance should not immediately be treated as rejection. It should be treated as information. Instead of attacking her, create a safe space for honesty. Tell her, "I feel like something has changed between us. I'm not here to argue. I genuinely want to understand how you feel." Then listen. Not to defend yourself. Not to prove that she is wrong. Listen to understand, because sometimes the answer you are afraid to hear is exactly the conversation that can save the relationship. The second sign is that she stops sharing the little things with you. This one is easy to miss. You may think, "She still talks to me, so everything must be okay." But emotional intimacy is not built only through serious conversations. It is built through the small things, the random story about her day, the funny thing she saw, the thought that suddenly crossed her mind, the little frustration she wanted to tell you about, the dream she had, the person who annoyed her at work, the song she discovered, the silly moment that made her laugh. When someone feels deeply connected to you, they naturally want to share their world with you. But when that connection begins to weaken, those small invitations into her world can disappear. Suddenly, you are no longer the first person she wants to tell, and that can hurt more than a major argument, because arguments still contain emotion. Silence can sometimes feel like emotional abandonment. You may begin asking yourself, "When did she stop telling me things?" And the truth may be that it happened gradually, one conversation at a time, one unanswered message at a time, one disappointment at a time, one moment where she wanted emotional support but felt like you were not really listening. This does not mean you should become desperate for information. Do not interrogate her. Do not demand that she tell you everything. Instead, become emotionally present again. Ask meaningful questions. Remember the things she tells you. Put your phone away when she is speaking. Look at her. Listen. Let her finish. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone is not advice. It is your full attention. The third sign is that her effort begins to change. Relationships require effort from both people. And when someone is emotionally invested, you usually see that investment in their behavior. They make time, they check in, they remember important things, they try to solve problems, they show appreciation, they make an effort to keep the connection alive. But when a woman becomes deeply unhappy, you may notice that she stops trying in the same way. She may stop initiating conversations. She may stop planning things. She may stop asking about your day. She may stop trying to resolve arguments. And this is important. Sometimes the biggest warning sign is not anger. It is indifference. Anger means there is still emotional energy being invested. Indifference can mean someone has become tired of fighting for the connection. Imagine spending months trying to explain what hurts you. You explain it, you hope, you wait. Nothing changes. So eventually you stop asking, you stop expecting, you stop fighting. And from the outside, it may look like peace, but inside it may be resignation. That is why you should never celebrate the fact that she has stopped complaining. Sometimes she stopped complaining because she stopped believing you would listen. This is where self-reflection becomes powerful. Ask yourself honestly, have I been taking her effort for granted? Have I been assuming she would always be there? Have I been listening only when she became upset? Have I been giving her attention only after she demanded it? Have I been expecting her to understand me while refusing to understand her? These questions can be uncomfortable, but emotional maturity begins when you stop asking only, what is she doing wrong? And start asking, what part of this relationship have I neglected? The fourth sign is that affection and warmth begin to feel forced. Maybe she used to naturally reach for your hand. Maybe she used to hug you when you came home. Maybe she used to look at you with warmth. Maybe there was an effortless closeness between you. And now something feels different. The hugs become shorter. The affection becomes less spontaneous. The conversations feel more practical. You may even notice that physical closeness exists, but emotional closeness does not. Again, this does not automatically mean she has stopped loving you. Stress, fatigue, personal struggles, and many other things can affect affection. But if the change is consistent and combined with emotional distance, it deserves attention because affection is often connected to emotional safety. When someone feels emotionally understood, respected, appreciated, and secure, closeness tends to happen naturally. But when someone is carrying resentment, disappointment, or emotional exhaustion, affection can become difficult. And this is where some men make another mistake. They try to force the connection back. They demand affection. They become clingy. They ask constantly, why don't you hug me anymore? Why don't you love me like before? Why have you changed? But love cannot be forced. Closeness cannot be demanded into existence. If you want emotional warmth to return, focus on rebuilding the environment that allows warmth to exist. Create safety, create respect, create consistency, create appreciation without expecting something in return. And most importantly, communicate. Tell her what you have noticed without blaming her. Instead of saying, you never show me affection anymore, say, I miss the closeness we used to have, and I want to understand what changed. That sentence opens a door. Accusation closes one. The fifth sign is perhaps the most painful. She stops trying to be understood. This is when she no longer explains why something hurts. She no longer argues about the things that once mattered. She no longer tries to convince you to change. You might even think, finally, there is no drama. But sometimes the absence of conflict is not a sign that everything is fixed. Sometimes it is a sign that someone has emotionally surrendered. Think about a person who keeps knocking on a door. They knock once, nobody answers. They knock again. Still nothing. They keep knocking because they believe someone will eventually open. But after enough unanswered attempts, they stop knocking. The silence that follows can be mistaken for peace. But it may actually be disappointment. That is why you should pay attention when someone stops expressing their needs, not because every quiet moment means the relationship is ending, but because emotional silence can sometimes mean the person has become tired. And if you genuinely love her, do not wait until she becomes completely detached before you take her feelings seriously. Talk now, listen now, champion what needs to change now, because relationships rarely collapse in one dramatic moment. More often, they weaken through small moments that are ignored, a conversation that never happened, an apology that never came, a promise that was repeatedly broken, a feeling that was dismissed, a need that was called too much, a partner who kept saying, "She knows I love her." But love is not only something you feel, it is something you communicate, it is something you demonstrate, it is something the other person can actually experience. And if you want to know whether she is unhappy, do not become obsessed with decoding every text message or analyzing every facial expression. Look at the bigger picture. Has the emotional connection changed? Has communication changed? Has effort changed? Has warmth changed? Has she stopped trying to make herself understood? Then have the courage to ask her directly, not aggressively, not desperately, not from fear. Ask from strength. Are you happy with us? And then be prepared to hear the answer, because real confidence is not pretending everything is perfect. Real confidence is being strong enough to face the truth. Maybe she will tell you that she is hurt. Maybe she will tell you that she feels neglected. Maybe she will tell you that she needs something different. Maybe she will tell you that she still loves you, but has been struggling emotionally. And maybe the conversation will reveal problems you never knew existed. Whatever the answer is, listen. Do not immediately defend yourself. Do not turn the conversation into a competition over who is more wrong. Do not bring up every mistake she has ever made. Stay present, because sometimes the person in front of you is not asking for perfection. They are asking to feel seen. They want to know that their emotions matter. They want to know that when they speak, you actually hear them. They want to feel that their presence in your life has meaning. And perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. Do not wait until someone becomes emotionally distant before you start appreciating their presence. Do not wait until they stop talking before you start listening. Do not wait until they stop trying before you start making an effort. And do not wait until you are about to lose someone before you finally understand their value. If she is unhappy, the goal should not be to control her emotions. The goal should be to understand them. If you made mistakes, own them. If she made mistakes, communicate about them. If both of you have been disconnected, rebuild together. And if the relationship truly cannot be repaired, then face that reality with dignity. Because loving someone does not mean desperately holding on to them. Sometimes love means becoming honest enough to see what is really happening and strong enough to respond with maturity. So tonight, take a moment and think about the person you love. Ask yourself whether you have been truly present. Not just physically, emotionally. Have you listened? Have you appreciated? Have you noticed the small changes? Have you made her feel safe enough to tell you the truth? Because sometimes the person we love is not asking us to become someone completely different. They are simply asking us to notice them again, to listen again, to care again, to choose the relationship again. And if these signs are appearing in your relationship, do not panic. Do not accuse. Do not assume the worst. Start a conversation, a real conversation. One without ego, one without shouting. One where both people can finally say what they have been holding inside. Because sometimes one honest conversation can reveal what months of silence were hiding. And sometimes that conversation becomes the beginning of healing. So remember this, when a woman says, "I'm fine," do not automatically assume she is unhappy. But when her behavior consistently tells you that something has changed, do not ignore it either. Pay attention, communicate, listen. And most importantly, never take emotional connection for granted, because relationships do not survive simply because two people love each other. They survive when two people are willing to understand each other, respect each other, and keep choosing each other even when the conversation is uncomfortable. If this message made you look at relationships differently, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more powerful lessons about relationships, emotional intelligence, confidence, and human psychology, make sure you subscribe because sometimes the signs are right in front of us. We just need the courage to see them.